Good evening, students. Today I am going to discuss you the important topics of communism and capitalism. These two ideology are very important in order to understand the meaning of political science. China is a citadel of communism. Under communism, state ownership in the means of production. And under capitalism, there is a private ownership in the means of productions. Those countries which are following the ideology of communism nowadays is China, Cuba, and Mexico. And under capitalism, India, France, England, USA, as well as other countries of the world follow the ideology of capitalism. Both the ideology have their own merits and demerits. Now, the most important merit of ideology of communism which the China is following nowadays is that the growth rate of China for the past 50 years have been very much higher than that of India, which are following the ideology of capitalism. There is also demerit of communism that China is followed, that there is a freedom of speech and expression. There is a limit in the freedom of speech and expression in China. You can't criticize the Chinese government. If you criticize the Chinese government, then you will be hanged. This is the most important demerit of China that is following the ideology of communism. One student in my class told me that, sir, people of China are the machines because they do not have any freedom of speech and expression. I say, yes, in some point you can say that they are called machines and they do not have the hurts and emotions because they do not have any freedom of speech and expression. And if you criticize the government, then you will be hanged or tortured. But I also tell him that there is a merit of communism which the Chinese government followed this. What is that? In simple word, if you want to become a doctor or engineer in China, it is not so much difficult for the poor person in China. But one must have any talent in order to become a doctor or engineer in China. Money is not the problem to become a doctor or engineer in China. But if you want to become a doctor or engineer in India, so the poor person must have a 50 lakh in their pockets. If he or she does not have a 50 lakh or 50 lakh in their pocket, then it is very difficult for him or her to become a doctor or engineer and in order to fulfill their dreams. Now, one student told me that, sir, one can get an education loan. So, to get an education loan, the banks demand collateral, and the poor person does not have any collateral. So, due to the lack of collateral, the bank does not offer him or her to give an education loan. So, this is a critical analysis of capitalism and communism. Under China, which are following the ideology of communism, their growth rate is much higher than that of India, which is following the ideology of capitalism. Now, under capitalism, there is a private ownership in the means of production. Government sector as well as a private sector both combinedly produce goods and services in our country. The most important merit of capitalism is that individual leadership, individual entrepreneurship, individual work hard is to be encouraged under the ideology of capitalism. In simple words, I can quote you an example. Dhirubhai Ambani. Dhirubhai Ambani is a clerk in a petrol pump. Now, in individual leadership qualities, their entrepreneurship, their hard work, now the Reliance having more than 1 lakh crore. assets in their pockets. So this is the most important merit of capitalism, that you can your individual leadership and entrepreneurship is to be encouraged. There are approximately more than 100 families uh, which are private corporate houses, and they have a control over the means of productions, as well as government enterprises. This is the most important merit of capitalism. And there is a freedom of speech and expression in our country. There is a democracy in our country. But only disadvantage of capitalism is that concentration of wealth in a few hands. This is the most important demerit of capitalism. So, dear students, this is a critical analysis of capitalism and communism. Thank you very much.